Hello, and if you forgot, it's gonna be May. I am slightly embarrassed that I just did that, but I don't know any of you, so I'll get over it. If you're new here, my name is Justin. I make weekly videos where I go through my budgeting process, kind of walk and talk you through what I'm thinking, why I'm putting my money where I'm putting it, and this video is going to be a month in review recap video. So it's April 30th. I'm recording this on April 30th. I don't have any planned spending for the rest of the day, and so all of my transactions are in YNAB. YNAB being the software that you're looking at, stands for You Need a Budget. But all of my transactions are in there, and so this is a perfect opportunity for me to review my spending and kind of prepare for the upcoming month of May. So as you can see, my total spending for the month of April was $5,748.63. Again, this is not going to be a shock to anybody. It's a little bit higher than normal because I am attacking my car loan. My number one goal right now is paying off my car loan before August. I am still kind of on track for getting it paid off in July, possibly in June. So it's TBD as to exactly when I will pay it off, but I'm hoping it'll be in July at some point. So the reason my spending is higher than normal, normally I'm spending about $3,000 to $3,500, is because of paying off my car as fast as I can. So all of my extra money is going towards my car payments. So you can see that my largest expense is extra car payments. In addition to making my regular car payment, I put aside $22.52.70 towards principal payment. So my next highest, which is usually my highest, is my rent. My rent amount is $1967.14. Again, that's a little bit higher than normal. Normally, I'm spending right around $1,900-ish, plus or minus $10 or $15. The reason it's almost $1970 is because I have been doing everything I can to spend $4,000 before June 10th so that I can get the 75,000 bonus miles for my credit card. And in order for me to do that, I had to pay rent at least once with the credit card. And by doing that, I had to pay a service fee of almost 3%. So that's why that's a little higher than normal. I don't have to use my credit card to pay my rent anymore. So in May, when I make that payment, it'll be my normal amount. I paid $247.30 as a regular car payment. So that's my regular car payment each month. So all in all, I sent to Capital One, who is my car loan company, I think $2,500 this month. Yeah, I think that's the way the math works out. I spent almost $200 on groceries. I budget $200 every month. So spending a little under, sometimes I do it. I typically don't spend more than $200. I try not to, especially now. The last couple months, I've implemented this household items because what I used to do is anytime I needed like laundry detergent, dish soap, the static sheets, things for the house, like air fresheners, things like that, I would deduct the amount of money needed to spend on those items from my grocery budget. And so if I needed, let's say I needed $50 or $60 worth of household items, then that month I was only allowed to spend like $150, $160 in groceries, which these days doesn't really go very far. So implementing a household item category has allowed me to, as you can see, I spent $133 this month. That would have come from my, in months and years past, that would have come from my grocery budget, which I'm no longer having to do. So household items, like I said, I spent $133. This was detergent, air fresheners, and then a vacuum to use on the hardwood. I have a robot vacuum. It's a Shark vacuum, but my dog hates it, and quite frankly, it sucks. It doesn't vacuum every area in the apartment, even though it literally the first time maps it out so it knows every area. I also have bar stools that have like a sloped base, and so that robot could get stuck on that sloped base for an hour, and it just got to the point to where it's not worth it anymore to have it running. So I bought a little vacuum for like $100, I think, at Walmart, and it's been doing great, keeping up with the massive amounts of dog hair that my dog sheds. This month, I finally applied for and paid my passport renewal. So my plan with that is once I get my passport, I'm going to apply for global entry, which is a perk that I get reimbursed from my credit card company. And so my plan once I get my passport is to apply for global entry and get that. My car insurance was $130 this month. That's pretty standard. It's the last month of my billing cycle, so I'm dreading to see how much it went up again this 6-month period. So that may not be my bill amount moving forward. In addition to passport renewal, I also purchased a year subscription to Microsoft 365. So in years past, I have just done the one-time fee for Microsoft products. The last time I did it was in 2019. So I have been using a very obsolete version of Microsoft Excel that I got tired of using because there were things that I am able to do in my work life that I would like to be able to do in my personal life in terms of formulas and features that I can't do unless I always have the most up-to-date version. The only way to do that is to get Microsoft 365 and pay $100 a year, which I guess now I'm okay doing. I spent a little bit on technology. I got a little SSD hard drive, an external hard drive, a terabyte worth of space so that I can offload all of my YouTube stuff onto that and no longer take up space on my computer. And then all of my school assignments and everything are on that hard drive as well. I was bumping up against the space that I have on my laptop, and rather than upgrading the internal memory and internal storage, which I can do on this laptop, I elected for just a cheap external hard drive. So the next thing is internet. That's a standard $95. Dog food, again, a standard $86. Cell phone of $75. Storage, $72. My power is starting to kind of creep up. In the spring leading up to summer, my bills are about $50 to $60. I'm getting notifications that my projected bill for April is going to be about $80. So we're starting to get into the summer. The summer creep is what I like to call it, where my bills will go from $50 to $60 to $100 to $150 each month. I'm hoping that the system that I put in place back in November of putting $110 in a month, regardless of what my bill ends up being, hopefully that covers those summer months when my bill is over 110. So we'll see how that works out and then adjust if I need to, but I think I should be fine. This month, I only spent $47 on dining out, which is a lot less than normal. Normally, I think I've been spending 75 to 100. I want to preface this by saying dining out is not a problem for me. I'm not trying to cut down on my dining out because I don't want or don't need to be spending on that each month. What I'm trying to do is I'm spending $200 on food. I'd like to be more satisfied with the food that I'm buying so that I don't feel like I don't have any food to eat and so I'm forced to dine out. I have a discretionary spending account that I put money in every paycheck. Dining out is an acceptable use of my discretionary spending money. So anytime I dine out, it's budgeted using that line item or that account. So yeah, for those wondering, I'm not trying to like completely curb dining out. I'm not, upset with the amount of money I'm spending. I'm just trying to eat the food that I have and be happy with that rather than feeling like I need to go eat out. And then the rest of my spending are my subscriptions for Paramount Plus, YouTube Premium, Spotify Ring, and Netflix, which I don't have any intentions of getting rid of any of them at the moment. So yeah, again, another high spend month, but that's because of my car payments. Hopefully after July or August, I'll go back down to like my normal $3,500 spending and we'll go from there. So in addition to the breakdown of all of my spending, I also like to compare my spending with different time periods, which is not something YNAB allows me to do. So I, a couple months ago, created a Python code that will capture all of my transactions from YNAB, clean that data up because it's not the most readable data, and only look at the expenses. That way I can see how much I spent this month compared to the same month last year and last month. So I have, I've shown this in the past. Normally I have this prepared already, but I have this Python code that I've developed to get my expenses, like I said. And I actually created two. So this is the one I've been using, and it only looks at the expenses in the current month based on the date of when I'm running it. What I ran into is if, let's say I don't run one on the last day of the month and forget, I'm going to miss those transactions because it's not designed to look back in the past. It's only designed to look at the current month. So I kind of adjusted that code to create one that allows me to input a month. And so it'll pop up with somewhere. It'll pop up with this little window asking me what month. So I'm going to do April because it's April. And it then asks me, okay, well, what year? So April 2025. So then it'll capture all of the information. And as you can see, it found 22 transactions for the month of April. It replaced the April expenses file that I ran a couple weeks ago, and it saved it in a folder that I tell it to save. And so what that allows me to do is then use a spreadsheet that will import all of that data. As you can see, it's got 22, nothing past that. The other day I got some food, so that transaction is going to show up. And as you can see, I have 3 transactions since the last time I refreshed this. So now these are all the 22 transactions. As you can see, the count down here on the right is 22. So these are the 22 expense transactions that it found in YNAB. This is the total amount that I've spent this current month, and then this is the amount that I spent last month and the same month last year. So that's how this works. This is just a Power Query if you're familiar. It just imports the data from those files and aggregates it. So then now I can go and open up the report or the visual that I created in Power BI. And I need to refresh the data. So as you can see, the same 57, 48, 63 is displayed here that we just went over. This top graph is comparing this month to April of last year. And as you can see, not surprising, I've spent significantly more than I did last year because last year I wasn't attacking a car payment like I am now. And so $3,473, that is a pretty standard month. After I'm done paying off my car, that'll be kind of where I'm at again. So not surprising. Again, last month is when I kind of started really attacking my car loan. And so I'm pretty much on par with the amount of spending that I did last month because I think I sent this about the same amount to my car as I did last month. And so, yeah, I'm pretty much on par with what I spent last month. So no issues with my spending. I am on track with where I need to be. And now let's go ahead and get into my income. So to look at my income, I use this income versus expense report in YNAB. I mainly like to see how much I've brought in and what sources do they come from. And obviously I like to see my cash flow be a positive number, but these last few months it's going to be negative because I'm using savings from previous months to spend. So yeah, my cash flow is looking like it's bad, but it's really not because a lot of that money is savings. So as you can see, my total income for the month of April was $5,127.14. Again, that's 600 and some odd dollars higher than what I spent, lower than what I spent, sorry. But I'm not concerned with that. The majority of my money comes from my paychecks, so about $3,800 came from my paychecks for the month of April. The next highest was my GI Bill, which is the money that I get monthly to go back to school. I will be getting a monthly GI Bill check for varying amounts. between now and December. I think December or January, one of the two. And that is what's allowing me to really ramp up the amount of money that I'm spending on my car, in addition to whatever savings I have from my regular paychecks. That GI Bill money is going pretty much 100% towards the car. $200. It's a low month for plasma. Normally, I'm in the $300 to $400 range. But I think I alluded to this in my last video. After a couple months, I usually take a week or two off to give my arms a chance to fully heal. Getting stuck with large needles, and when I'm talking large needles, they are much larger than like an IV or a shot needle. So yeah, it's definitely it definitely leaves a decent hole. And so getting stuck twice a week, every week repeatedly for a couple months, I just like to give my body enough time to heal so that I can go another couple months of getting stuck repeatedly by large needles. And then I forgot about this, but I got a little bit of a refund check from the company that my Jetta was originally financed with before I refinanced to go back to Capital One. So I got about $30 from them. So all in, that's where my income is. Not a bad income month. I'm hoping in May, June, and maybe July, depending, I will have a little bit higher income because I will be starting rideshare to get some additional extra income so that I can really attack my car loan, because that is the only way I'm going to get this paid off before August, and really the only way I'm going to get it paid off in July or sooner. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the month of April. I'm happy with where I'm at financially. I am happy with where I'm at in my personal life. This has been a really, really busy month for me, because I've been in school all month, taking 2 classes. I just finished those this past weekend, so I've got a couple week break before I start the next 7 weeks of classes. Most of my time has been spent with work. We have a large annual project that we're working on, and so I've taken it upon myself to kind of standardize this process and make it consistent throughout all the departments in our court. And so that has been a very large undertaking, but hopefully the work that I'm putting in and have been putting in this week or this month is going to pay off tenfold, making our annual process much smoother, quicker, and more efficient. So with that, I will see you next week. Next week is going to be a paycheck week and the first paycheck in May. So we'll see you next week.